The sky burned. Captain Elias Vorn watched from the command deck of the Oblivion's Hand as the planet's atmosphere split beneath the warship's barrage, great plumes of fire erupting where the kinetic rod struck. The alien city below, a sprawling, luminous hive of crystalline towers, collapsed like brittle glass. Screams crackled over the comms for half a second before the feed dissolved into static. "Target eliminated," announced Tactical Officer Wren, his voice devoid of inflection. Vorn didn't respond. He didn't need to. This was routine. Behind him, Lieutenant Kara Vaughn tightened her grip on the railing, her knuckles whitening. She had seen this before, 3 times now, but the weight of it never lessened. The way the planet's surface cracked open, molten rivers swallowing entire civilizations. It wasn't war. It was extermination. "Captain," she said, forcing her voice steady. The planetary defense grid was already down. Their surrender transmission was broadcasting on all channels. Was this necessary? Vorn turned, his scarred face half lit by the firestorm below. His eyes were cold, the kind of cold that came from years of staring into the void and finding nothing but his own reflection. Necessary. He almost smiled. "Lieutenant, mercy is a luxury for those who aren't fighting extinction." A hologram flickered to life above the command table, Admiral Cray's gaunt features materializing in blue light. "Status: Xiphus Tertiary is ash," Vorn reported. "Their fleet never even left the docks." Cray nodded. "Good. Proceed to the next target. Xiphus Prime awaits." The transmission cut out. Kara exhaled sharply. "Sir, with respect, Xiphus Prime is their homeworld. Billions live there. If we glass it, we're not just destroying their military. We're erasing their history." Vorn didn't look at her. He watched the planet's corpse on the view screen, the flames reflected in his pupils. They should have thought of that before they burned Earth. A beat of silence. The crew shifted uncomfortably. Everyone knew the stories. The surprise attack, the orbital bombardment. The billions lost before humanity rallied. The war had started with ash, and it would end with ash. Kara opened her mouth to argue, but the ship's AI interrupted. Asterisk incoming transmission. Origin, Xiphus Prime. Priority override, asterisk. Vorn frowned. "Play it." The hologram reformed, but this time it wasn't a military officer. A slender alien with silvered skin and luminous eyes stood before them. Its voice translated into clipped mechanical tones. "Asterisk people of the warship, we have seen your destruction. We know your wrath, but we did not attack your home. We did not ignite this war. Stand down and we will prove it. Asterisk. Static." Then a data packet flickered into existence. Coordinates, timestamps, ship signatures. Kara's breath caught. "Captain, if this is evidence." Vorn's hand slashed through the hologram, dissolving it. Deception. Ziphian tactics. He turned to Tactical. "Wren, plot the jump to Xiphus Prime. Full combat readiness." For a moment, Kara thought she saw something flicker in Wren's eyes. Doubt? But then he nodded. "Aye, sir." The crew moved like ghosts, silent and efficient. Kara didn't move. Vorn finally looked at her. "Problem, Lieutenant?" She met his gaze. "What if they're telling the truth?" His voice dropped, low and dangerous. "Then it's too late for truth." The engines hummed, the jump drive charging. Somewhere in the void ahead, a world waited, unaware that its death was already written, and the Oblivion's Hand would deliver it. The jump drive tore reality open, and the Oblivion's Hand emerged from the abyss between stars like a blade unsheathed. Xiphus Prime hung in the view screen, a blue-green jewel wreathed in orbital platforms, its cities glowing like embers in the dusk. No shields, no defensive formations, only silence. Kara's fingers hovered over her console. No targeting locks, no fleet movements. They're just waiting. Vorn's jaw tightened. Scan for traps. Wren's hands dance across holographic controls. None detected. But there's something else. He pulled up a magnification of the planet's surface. Throngs of aliens gathered in open squares. Their silvered faces turned upward, not in defiance, in resignation. Kara's stomach twisted. They're not even hiding. Vorn ignored her. Arm the planet crackers. Full yield. A murmur rippled through the crew. Tactical officers exchanged glances. No one moved. Asterisk now asterisk, Vorn snarled. Wren hesitated, then input the sequence. The warship's belly split open, revealing the monstrous cylinders of the kinetic rods, each one capable of splitting continents. Kara couldn't stay silent. Captain, we have to verify that transmission. If they didn't attack Earth. Then what? Vorn wheeled on her, his voice a whip crack. You think this changes anything? Look at them. He jabbed a finger at the screen. They're weak, pathetic, and weakness is what got Earth burned. A chime sounded. Another incoming transmission, this time from Admiral Cray. His hologram flickered into existence, his usual composure fraying at the edges. Vorn, stand down. High Command has reviewed the Ziphian data. There's discrepancies in our records. Silence. Vorn's face darkened. Explain. Cray's image glitched, static eating at his edges. The ship signatures from the burning of Sol, they weren't Ziphian. They were Terran. Modified, but ours. The bridge froze. Kara's mind raced. Asterisk false flag. A lie to justify the war. Asterisk. Vorn's hand drifted toward his sidearm. You're saying we did this to ourselves. Cray's hologram shuddered. I'm saying stand down until... Vorn shot the projector. The Admiral's image exploded into sparks. Traitors, he hissed. Every last one of them. He turned to Wren. Fire. Wren didn't move. Serve High Command. Vorn drew his pistol and shot him in the throat. Chaos erupted. Crewmen scrambled back as Wren collapsed, gasping, blood pooling on the deck. Vorn leveled the gun at tactical. Anyone else want to question orders? Kara acted before she could think. She lunged for the emergency override, slamming her palm onto the lockdown trigger. Alarms blared as the ship's AI boomed. Asterisk weapon systems offline. Command authorization required. Asterisk. Vorn's pistol swung toward her. You wretch. She stood her ground, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. You just murdered your own officer to hide the truth. Who's the monster now? For a heartbeat, she thought he'd shoot. Then, movement on the view screen. The Ziphians were singing. Their voices, translated and amplified by the ship systems, spilled onto the bridge, a low, mournful harmony that resonated in the bones. Kara didn't need translation to understand. It was a dirge. For themselves. For him. Vorn's hand wavered. Outside, the stars watched indifferent. The gun trembled in Vorn's grip, its muzzle of black eye staring into Kara's soul. Around them, the bridge crew stood frozen, caught between duty and mutiny. The Ziphian dirge swelled through the speakers, an eerie counterpoint to Wren's wet, choking breaths as he bled out on the deck. Kara didn't blink. You know what happens if you kill me, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The ship stays locked down. No more firing solutions. No more massacres. Vorn's finger twitched on the trigger, his other hand clenched into a fist so tight the tendons stood out like cables. They burned our world, he growled, but the words sounded hollow now, even to him. Did they? Kara took a slow step forward. The crew watched, breath held. Or did we need someone to hate so badly we burn it ourselves? A shudder ran through the ship. Not weapons fire, but the deep groan of the reactor cycling down. The AI's voice cut through the tension. Asterisk warning. Command override initiated. Warhead safeties engaged. Asterisk. Vorn's eyes flicked to the view screen. The planet hung there, undefended, its people singing their own requiem. For the first time in decades, he saw them not as faceless enemies, but as fathers, mothers, children waiting for the sky to fall. Just like Earth had. His arm dropped. The gun clattered to the deck. Kara didn't relax. Stand down the crew, she ordered. Full retreat from Xiphus Prime. No one moved. Then, one by one, the bridge officers turned back to their stations. Alarms silenced. The great warship began to turn, its weapons cooling in their housings. Vorn sank into his command chair, suddenly ancient. You realize what you've done, he said, not looking at her. They'll court-martial us all. Kara knelt beside Ren, pressing her hands to his ruined throat. Blood seeped through her fingers. Better than living with genocide on our souls. Outside, the stars wheeled as the Oblivion's hand limped toward home, its hull scorched by battles, but its conscience, for the first time, clean. The Ziphian song followed them into the void, a haunting reminder. Monsters could choose to stop being monsters. And that changed everything. The Oblivion's hand drifted into dead space between war zones, its corridors humming with uneasy silence. Kara stood at the observation deck, watching the stars smear into streaks as the ship limped toward human territory at sublight speeds. The jump drive remained offline, a deliberate sabotage she'd orchestrated. Every hour bought was another hour for the truth to spread. Vorn found her there. He moved differently now, shoulders bowed under the weight of revelation rather than command. "They'll be waiting for us," he said. Not a threat. A fact. Kara didn't turn. "I know." Below them, the crew moved like ghosts. Some had taken to wearing black armbands, mourning Ren, or perhaps the illusion of righteousness they'd lost. A proximity alert blared. The view screen flickered to life, revealing 3 Terran battleships blocking their path, weapons hot. Admiral Kray's face appeared on the comm, his image crisp this time, his voice iron. Asterisk Oblivion's hand asterisk. "You are hereby ordered to surrender command codes and prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be met with lethal force." Vorn exhaled through his nose. How poetic. We become what we hunted. Kara activated the ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is Lieutenant Vaughn. Stand down. Repeat, stand." The deck lurched as something impacted their hull. Warning lights bathed the observation deck in crimson. Kara grabbed the railing as secondary explosions rumbled through the ship's skeleton. "They're not here to arrest us," Vorn realized. "They're here to erase us." Kara sprinted for the bridge, Vorn at her heels. Crew members scrambled past them, some toward escape pods, others to battle stations. The ship's AI announced damage reports in its calm, terrible voice. Asterisk hull breach on Deck 7. Reactor containment at 89%. Weapon systems remain offline. Asterisk. Another impact. The artificial gravity wavered, sending them crashing into bulkheads. Kara tasted blood. They reached the bridge just as the main screen lit up with new transmission, not from Kray's fleet, but from Xiphus Prime. The silver-skinned diplomat from before appeared, their luminous eyes reflecting starlight. Asterisk Terran vessel. "We intercepted your distress beacon. Help is coming." Asterisk. Vorn barked a laugh. "Help? From the people we tried to murder." The view screen split, half showing the approaching Terran fleet, half displaying a swarm of Ziphian warships emerging from jump points, their organic-looking vessels moving to intercept Kray's forces. Kara's breath caught. "They're protecting us." On screen, Kray's fleet hesitated, then began to reorient, not toward the Oblivion's hand, but toward this new threat. The Admiral's face twisted in rage. "Asterisk, this is your last chance, Vorn. Stand down and..." Asterisk. The transmission cut off as the first Ziphian ship fired. Not plasma or kinetics, but some shimmering energy web that enveloped the lead Terran battleship, disabling its weapons without harming the hull. Vorn watched, his face unreadable. They could have killed them. Kara activated the comm. "All escape pods. Launch now. Set course for Xiphus Prime." She turned to Vorn. "You too, Captain. They'll need your testimony." He didn't move. "And you?" Someone had to stay. Someone had to buy time. The words hung unspoken between them. Outside, the stars burned cold and bright as the first Terran missiles found their mark. The Oblivion's hand shuddered as another missile found its mark, the impact throwing Kara against the command console. Emergency lights painted the bridge in pulsing crimson, the acrid stench of burning circuitry stinging her nostrils. On the fractured view screen, the Ziphian fleet wove through Kray's formation, their strange energy weapons disabling Terran ships with surgical precision. Vorn didn't move toward the escape pods. Instead, his hands flew across the damaged navigation console. "I'm routing auxiliary power to the starboard thrusters," he growled. "We're not dying as sitting ducks." Kara opened her mouth to argue when the ship's AI announced, Asterisk reactor containment at 63%. Hull integrity critical in sectors 4 through 7. Asterisk. A new alert flashed. The Ziphians were hailing them again. The silver-skinned diplomat's face appeared, their voice calm amidst the chaos. Asterisk Terran vessel, we are transmitting safe jump coordinates. Your reactors can withstand one final jump. Asterisk. Vorn's hands froze. That's suicide. The drive's at 12% integrity. Kara studied the coordinates. Not if we vent the plasma chambers first. She met Vorn's gaze. It'll leave us dead in space afterward, but alive, Vorn finished. For the first time since the war began, something like hope flickered in his eyes. The deck plates vibrated as another explosion rocked the ship. Kara gripped her console as the artificial gravity fluctuated. Do it. Vorn's fingers danced across the controls. Across the bridge, surviving crew members strapped in, their faces set with grim determination. The jump drive whined in protest as it powered up, the sound building to a teeth-rattling shriek. Kray's flagship loomed on the view screen, its massive railguns charging. Asterisk last chance, traitors, asterisk. The Admiral's voice crackled through the comms. Now! Kara shouted. Reality tore open. The jump was unlike any Kara had experienced. A gut-wrenching stretch of eternity where her bones felt turned inside out. Warning klaxon screamed as the Oblivion's hand tumbled through the void, its systems failing in cascading waves. Then silence. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a blue-white star and a single planet orbiting peacefully. No Terran fleet. No Ziphian ships. Just safety. Where are we? Kara whispered. Vorn checked the star charts, his brow furrowing. Nowhere. This system isn't on any Terran map. He turned to the comms officer. Any signals? The officer shook his head. Just this. He played a repeating message on the speakers, a Ziphian voice, speaking in heavily accented but clear standard. Asterisk sanctuary. Wait. Friends come. Asterisk. Kara slumped into her chair, exhaustion crashing over her. Around the bridge, crew members began to weep. Not from pain, but from the staggering realization that they might live to see tomorrow. Vorn moved to stand beside her, staring at the unfamiliar stars. They saved us, he said quietly. After everything. Kara watched the planet rotate slowly on the view screen, its continents lush and unmarred by war. Not just us, she realized. The truth. Because somewhere in the Oblivion's hand, battered databanks, were the evidence that could end the war. And now, against all odds, they might live long enough to use it. The ship's dying systems hummed their final song as the alien sun rose over the planet's horizon, its light creeping across the bridge like a promise. The dying ship groaned as it drifted toward the unnamed planet, its hull still radiating heat from the desperate jump. Kara watched the approaching world through a cracked view screen, its blue-green surface marred only by swirling white storms. No cities, no orbital platforms, just wilderness stretching endlessly beneath virgin skies. Life signs. Vorn asked, his voice rough from smoke inhalation. The sensor officer tapped his flickering display. Breathable atmosphere, vegetation, and... He frowned. Structures, but not like anything in Terran records. Kara felt the hairs on her neck rise. They brought us here for a reason. A proximity alert chimed. Something was approaching from the planet. Not a ship. Something massive and organic. Its silhouette against the sun, like a floating jellyfish grown to impossible size. The crew recoiled as it pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, colors shifting through hues unknown to human eyes. It's beautiful, someone whispered. Vorn's hand hovered near the non-existent weapons controls. Or deadly. The creature or vessel extended a shimmering tendril toward their hull. The ship's external cameras showed the appendage melting seamlessly through damaged plating, reforming as a perfect airtight seal around the breach. They're repairing us, Kara realized. A new sound filled the bridge, not the ship's alarms, but a resonant hum that vibrated in their bones. The view screen flickered, then displayed an image that made Kara's breath catch. Earth, as seen from orbit, but not the war-torn hellscape of their memories. Earth as it once was, blue, whole, teeming with life. Then the image shifted to show Xiphus Prime in its prime, followed by a dozen other worlds they didn't recognize, all pristine, all undamaged. Vorn's knuckles whitened on his armrest. A gallery of what we destroyed. The alien hum changed pitch, becoming almost mournful. The screen now showed the Oblivion's hand itself in battle, its weapons reducing cities to ash. But the perspective was from the ground. They saw the faces of the dying, heard the screams the ship's sensors had filtered out. A young crewman retched in the corner. Kara forced herself to watch. This is why they saved us. Not to hide the truth, to force us to remember it. The images vanished as suddenly as they'd appeared. The alien vessel detached, its bioluminescence dimming. On the sensor display, a single landing site pulsed with coordinates. A clearing near one of the mysterious structures. Vorn stood, his uniform still stained with Wren's blood. "I'll go." Kara moved to join him. "We'll go." The shuttle bay was half destroyed, but one craft remained functional. As they boarded, the surviving bridge crew saluted. Not the Chris Terran fleet salute, but something slower, more solemn. A farewell to the men they'd been when this ship had first sailed. The planet's air smelled like iron and something sweet when they stepped onto its surface. Gravity pulled differently here, just enough to make each step feel like a memory half remembered. The structure ahead wasn't a building, but a living thing. A towering spiral of crystalline flesh that pulsed in time with their heartbeats. At its base stood a Ziphian, the same diplomat from the transmissions. Their silver skin reflected the alien sunlight as they raised a three-fingered hand in greeting. "We wondered if you'd come," the translator device around their neck said in flawless standard. Vorn took a step forward. "Why show us those images? Do you mean to punish us?" The Ziphian's luminous eyes studied them. "To understand. Your species kills what it fears, and fears what it doesn't understand." They gestured to the living structure. "We offer the opposite." Kara reached out, touching the crystalline surface. It was warm. And then it wasn't. The world dissolved in a rush of sensation and light. She stood on Earth's surface, but not the Earth she knew. The sky was wrong, too purple, the sun too large. Around her, creatures that were almost human but not quite moved to a city of living spires. The vision carried no explanation, only a profound sense of familiarity. When she blinked, she was back in the alien world, tears streaming down her face. Vorn stood rigid beside her, his expression shattered. "You showed me?" He began, then stopped. The Ziphian nodded. What could be? What was lost? What might still be saved? Above them, the sky darkened as the first alien stars appeared, constellations no human had ever named. Kara felt the weight of centuries pressing down, the terrible understanding of all that had been destroyed in the name of survival, but also, for the first time, the fragile hope of what might yet grow from the ruins. The visions faded, leaving Kara's hands trembling against the crystalline structure. The alien sun hung low now, painting the clearing in long, liquid shadows. Vorn stood motionless beside her, his breathing ragged, as if he'd run across galaxies rather than simply remembered them. The Ziphian diplomat watched them in silence, their silver skin catching the dying light. The translator device pulsed softly at their throat. "You see now," it said, not a question. Kara wiped her face. What she had witnessed in the vision, the lost civilizations, the world that might have been, clung to her like smoke. "Why show us this?" she asked. "We can't undo what's been done." The Ziphian tilted their head, an eerily human gesture. "No, but you can choose what happens next." Vorn let out a sharp breath. "There's no going back for us. The fleet will hunt us as traitors." "And yet," the Ziphian said, "you are here, not dead, not forgotten." They stepped aside, revealing a path deeper into the crystalline structure. "Come." Kara hesitated, but Vorn moved first, his boots crunching on the strange, glass-like vegetation underfoot. She followed, the air thickening as they passed into the structure's heart. The walls here were not opaque, but translucent, pulsing with faint light. Shapes moved within them, figures from the visions, fleeting as ghosts. The Ziphian stopped before a smooth, hollowed-out depression in the floor. It shimmered with liquid, dark, reflective, like pooled ink. A recording, the Ziphian said, not just of sights and sounds, of choices. Vorn's jaw tightened. You want us to relive more? No. The Ziphian lifted a hand, and the liquid stirred, its surface rippling. We want you to leave something behind. Kara understood first. A message? For whom? Vorn asked. The Ziphian's luminous eyes held his. For those who come after. For the ones who will stand where you stood and have to choose. The weight of it settled over Kara. This wasn't just about them. Their guilt, their redemption. It was about the next crew ordered to burn a world. The next soldier handed a weapon and told not to ask why. Vorn exhaled, long and slow. Then, without hesitation, he pressed his palm to the liquid. It reacted instantly, swirling up his wrists like living shadow. His breath hitched, his eyes widening. But he didn't pull away. Kara watched his face. She didn't need the visions to know what he was reliving. The orders he'd followed, the lives he'd erased, the moment he'd finally hesitated. The liquid darkened further, drinking in every memory, every regret. When he finally stepped back, his hand was clean. The pool had gone utterly black. Kara didn't ask if he was okay. Some wounds didn't need words. She knelt instead, her own hand hovering above the surface. The visions had shown her the cost of blind obedience. Now she would show the next ones the cost of defiance. Ren's blood on the deck. The crew's hollow stares. The terrible freedom of choosing mercy. Her fingers broke the surface. The liquid was cold. Then it was inside her. Not in her veins, but in her mind, sifting through her thoughts like pages in a book. She let it take everything. The screams of dying worlds. The silence afterward. The fragile, terrifying hope of something different. When it released her, she swayed but didn't fall. The pool now glowed faintly, its darkness threaded with silver. The Ziphian nodded, satisfied. It is done. Outside, the sky had deepened to twilight. The first alien stars glittered overhead, indifferent to the small, flawed creatures below. Vorn turned to Kara. His eyes were clearer than she'd ever seen them. What now? She looked back at the structure, at the pool holding their choices. Now, she said, we wait. Somewhere, in the vast and hungry dark, another warship would come. Another crew would stand on the edge of annihilation. And maybe, just maybe, they would hesitate.